Welcome to the Varathane Workshop. We have taken a piece of wood and shown you how you can turn it into a beautiful work of art by applying the correct Varathane wood stain. Now it's time to move on to finishing your project with polyurethane. And I want to share with you some of the great tips that I've learned over the years on how to achieve the best end results with your project. I'm your host, Rodney McFalls. You know, of the thousands of projects that I've been privileged to work on, I've had my good friend Hovie help me finish many of those projects.
And you know, my friend, they don't call me the finisher for nothing.
Dude, seriously?
Yeah.
Nobody calls you that.
Oh.
So now that we've applied our wood stain, it's time to provide the protective coating. We're going to use the water-based polyurethane. We have 4 different sheens available: matte, satin, semi-gloss, and gloss.
Advantages of using the water base?
It's great. Low VOC, so there's much less odor. It actually provides a crystal clear finish, and it dries more quickly than conventional oil-based polyurethanes.
Anytime we have anything that's like a cylindrical shape or something like that, I really love using the aerosols.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about dripping that way. We get full coverage, especially a spindle that has any types of carving around it.
Where it's difficult to get a brush around.
Exactly.
So it's really easy to use the aerosol for that.
So these are best for that right there.
Absolutely. So I love using this product. We've got our wood stain. We want to apply 4 coats. The first coat, I believe, is the foundation coat. That's the most important coat of all. That's the coat that will raise the grain fibers just a little bit. So we want to make sure that that first coat is scuff sanded before we move on to the next coat.
Correct.
The next 3 coats would actually be the build coat, and that's what gives us the final protection.
And it gives a much smoother feel overall when you're done with it. Just dry it out.
Optimum results. Today, of course, we're going to use the matte finish for this particular project. And one thing that we want to make sure of is that we don't shake it, because a lot of times what happens is by shaking it, we introduce air bubbles into the film, and a lot of times that transfers over into the coat itself. So we'll open up the can, stir it gently. Again, the settlement on the bottom is actually the flattening. It's all the vehicle that gives us the final sheen that we're looking for. We want to check the spatula just to make sure that, again, there's no settlement on the bottom of the spatula. That looks really good. So we're ready to apply the coat. Now, we always like, as a tip, to apply the very first coat using a foam brush. We move the full extent of the project. We don't want to stop midstream. Allow yourself about half of a foam brush overlap and make sure that you have good, even coverage. However, that actually looks very good. Now, what that's going to enable us to do is when that dries, we'll go back and sand that coat. That creates a beautiful foundation for 3 more build coats on top of that, and you will have an exquisite finish. So we've applied the first coat of poly. If you feel over that, it's really dry, but there's just this little bit of a grit. And that, again, comes from the raising of the grain. Now, what we want to do is scuff over that gently. We don't want to remove any of the poly. We don't want to remove the color. We simply want to remove those little bitty fibers that are sticking up, and that gives us a wonderful foundation to work with. It doesn't take much. Again, go all the way across the surface. Much like we were applying the poly itself, you want to sand from one end to the next, go all the way across, make sure you overlap. Feel the surface, that feels fantastic. Now you won't take the tack cloth and remove all the sanding dust, because we don't want to incorporate that.
We use these from Gator. They're great tack cloth.
Absolutely. So again, just gently wipe over the surface, and that will remove trash and debris that may have settled in the foundation coat. As we mentioned earlier, the second coat, third coat, fourth coat is the build coats. So we've got a great foundation, we've got a beautiful color. We're actually going to use a bristle brush for this application. The reason for that is we're able to apply more coating per application. So the foam brush gives a really smooth, thin coat. That was our first coat, foundation coat. Our bristle brush does a great job of applying more coating per application. The more build we have, the more protection we have, and the more beauty we have in the finish itself. So much like we did with the sanding application and the foam brush application, we want to start from one end, work all the way across the board, make sure that we overlap properly. Then we like to, where we ended up, go all the way back, and that just evens out the coating, evens out the film. The beauty about the water-based product, as well as the oil-based polyurethane, is that it has leveling properties. So once that's applied, you'll notice again with the water-based product, there's a little bit of a blue film, but that dries super clear, and it has flowing properties, so it enables all those brush marks to begin to flow out as it cures. Again, we will repeat this exact same process for the other coats of poly.
Exactly. Not enough O's in smooth.
There you go. And our project is completed. We used the matte water-based polyurethane finish, 4 coats. Remember, our first coat was the foundation coat, 3 build coats on top of that.
Right.
The polyurethane provides years of protection, beauty, clarity, richness. Hey, let's take the fear out of finishing. Anyone can do it.